Happy Sunday, folks. So this is unusual, at least for the recent past couple months, is that I do a video 2 days in a row. But I was going through Discord and there was a video suggestion posted a month ago at the end of August by a guy by the name of Jimbo. That was his username, and I figured his suggestion for video is a good one, and so I figured I'd talk about it here. He basically, I'm kind of in the same boat. Maybe you are too. He said that the people that he's told about Grayscale and its potential think he's crazy and think he's going to lose everything, that it's way too risky, and that the gains that he's talking about are impossible. And yeah, I've gotten that too. I've gotten it too. And then people ignore it. They don't want to look into it. They don't want to invest, all that kind of stuff. We probably, most of it, if we've told anybody about this stuff, we've probably run into this, And yeah, it's to be expected, honestly, and you can't blame them. From most people's perspective, think about it. A lot of people aren't familiar with crypto, or even if they are, they're just familiar a little bit with it and they're not very comfortable with it. And so massive gains really only come to them in terms of like Ponzi schemes and just complete scams. Because they hear about, if they haven't had this happen to themselves, they hear about people who have just gotten taken to, just through the ringer, right, with some scam, which is unfortunate, but this stuff exists. But this is what, people get into when they're looking to make a lot of money, maybe to shore up retirement or to hit it big, whatever. They're going to invest in super speculative, super risky things that are Ponzi schemes or just outright scams, right? And so they lose money and they get a bitter taste in their mouth. They don't want to go into anything that has a fantastic gain. And I said this in yesterday's video, and I'll give you an example for myself too. So I've got a friend who's got like $3,000 in a Roth, right? That's her Roth balance is $3,000. And she's like 48 years old, okay? Like 20 years ago or 12 to 15 years ago, something like that, she put in $2,000. So in the space of over a decade, the thing has only grown by 50%. That's the kind of return that most people are used to. Crappy returns. That's a crappy return. That has not kept up with the cost of inflation, in my opinion. It hasn't. But that's what most people get. And honestly, I've been in investments like that too. Like several years ago, well, like 6-7 years ago, I was in a couple automated investment funds. Maybe you guys are familiar with them. I was in like Betterment and Wealthfront. I had a bunch of money there. Basically, they just park it in index funds and different, assets. And I got out of those positions right before, about 4 years ago, right? Or thereabouts, right before the last crypto bull run. Because I was like, these suck in terms of returns and I need to get something better. I don't want to go all in on native crypto. I put a lot in there though at the time. But I was looking for things in my brokerage account, which is why I found Grayscale. And for me, it's like I was comfortable with crypto. That's fine. A lot of people don't know about crypto, or they think it's too risky. They think it's a Ponzi scheme. And it doesn't help that, our politicians are often anti-crypto. Like this is like going back to Obama, right? When crypto kind of came out, Obama was against it, didn't like it, and I understand why too the politicians don't like it, because it's like sovereign money. It's like native crypto is a fight against the centrally controlled banker system that we have, right, with fiat currency. It is. So they don't like native crypto, generally speaking. Although Trump has come out as being pro-crypto this bull run. I don't know that he was a huge fan of it last cycle or last time he was in office, but it's different this time, which is cool to see. But most people getting back on track here, like they just can't, to get even a 10x return, a 10x return is like, they just don't believe it. And what's crazy to me is if you look at it, even if you show them the chart, that if they had gotten into, for example, BCHG in the bottom of the bear market, that they would have already had probably like a 10x. That's what they could have had right now. And we're not even in the bull run yet, but they could have already had like close to a 10x. They still won't believe it. And I mean, that's fine. But it just shows you, like, if you pay attention, if you trust the data, if you understand the crypto cycles, like, you just grab onto that shit and make a ton of bank. While people who do not understand it, don't believe in it, are afraid of it, don't do as well. They might do well, but they're going to be in stuff that's more boring, like index funds or growth stocks or whatever, and this is like every 4 years we are blessed by the crypto gods with this super cycle that allows us to get massively wealthy, especially when you take your money from one crypto bull run, take the profits out, and you leave most of it to ride to the next one to amplify those gains. Man, your wealth can just grow like absolutely bananas. But most people don't understand that. But like think about this. Like, I've given this example before. It's like, my son's like Roth. I'm gonna blow that shit up. He's gonna I contributed $7,000 into his Roth. And by the way, here's a hack. So there's still time to do this, folks. Some of you might be able to do this. Not everybody, obviously. So the thing that pisses me off about this is government regulations. You can't actually open a custodial Roth IRA for your kid until your kid has income, like in the term from either like W-2 income, like a job, or contractor wages. So I was talking to my CPA about this, and my CPA is like, well, he's like, I've got a couple clients who own businesses, and what they do is they just like bring their kid in for a photo shoot and pay them for like, marketing photos that they use in marketing. And I'm like, first I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then I was like, you know what? I've taken some photos of my kid in the office. Yeah, we're going to set him up as a contractor, cut him a check. And that's what I did to actually fund his Roth, because I wanted to get in there now instead of waiting until he's like 13, 14, 15, whenever he has wage money coming in. Do it now, because I'll be 2 cycles ahead of that. And so the $7,000 that I put in is probably the only money that is ever going to have to be contributed ever to that Roth IRA, because it's just going to explode. Like $7,000, it's like if you can do a 20x, even a 20x, right, up to 140 grand. I think that's conservative. I'm going to try to do rotation. But then I take that, right, it's tax-free. I increase it with high yield dividend ETFs over the next year and a half, get back into the bear market. Man, I should be able to get that thing up to like, $2, $3, $4 million by the end of next bull market easily, right? He's 11 years old at that point. Like, okay, then what can it do? Then I can do another 10x, at least in the next cycle, presumably, get it up to 20 some million, 30 million. You know what I mean? Like, he's never going to have to contribute to a Roth ever in his life. That $7,000 initial investment will set him up as a multimillionaire in a Roth IRA account for the rest of his life. And before he gets that account at the age of 21, I'll just probably park it in index funds. It's going to have a ton of money in there, and he won't have to do anything with it. I'll teach him about investing and all that kind of stuff. He can do whatever he wants with it, but he won't have to. You won't have to contribute. And the piddly little $7,000 that they limit you to every fucking year, it's so pathetic. Because if you were to stick that in an index fund, it doesn't do jack shit in comparison to what it can do in crypto assets, whether it's Grayscale or Coinbase or MicroStrategy or the Bitcoin miners. It doesn't do jack shit if you stick it in normal, quote unquote, safe and boring investments. It doesn't do jack shit. And that is part of the reason why so many people are facing a retirement crisis, because they've just, if they have invested any money, and not a whole lot of people have put very much in, that's part of the problem. But if they have, they put it into safe investments that are boring. And boring safe investments do not have a very good return. They suck, in comparison to like what's happening with inflation and the real cost of goods, fuel, all that kind of stuff, right? Real life inflation, not the inflation numbers that the government gives us, which is kind of bullshit, in my opinion. But anyway, so kind of going off on a couple things here. But I would just say, like, people probably, if you've told people about Grayscale, that they're very skeptical of it. They don't want to look into it. It's not their thing, whatever. And you know, they'll see afterwards. Maybe they'll never even look to see what happened with Grayscale stuff. You know, if they're smart, or if they remember, they should take a look at it. Some of them might realize how good of an investment it was, or could have been, or is, when we are in the height of things, when they see the chart basically rocket. But that's not when you want to get in. That's when a lot of people get in. That's when a lot of people FOMO in, right? People who FOMO in the height, well, they are our exit liquidity. That's it. And that's on them. But that's not the smart time to get in. The smart time to get in is now, and it's earlier than now. So I don't know. We're gonna do really well. People will be, I don't know, probably very surprised, I think, at the outcome. Although I don't think they should be. All you got to do is look at what happened to LTCN last cycle, and you should not be, you shouldn't be, you know, caught off guard. I mean, maybe LTCN, hopefully it does way better than it did last cycle. That's what we're hoping for. And, you know, then they'll be like, oh shit, I should have gotten in. But a lot of people won't. That's okay. Not everybody is gonna sit at the big boys table. And that's where you guys are. You know, it's like, it's reward is tied with risk in life. If you don't want to take risks in life, if you want to play it safe, well, that's cool. But guess what? The reward isn't that good. You know, it's like you get a pat on the back. You know, you get like a 3% growth rate. You don't get massive gains. It is really, with risk comes reward. Also with risk comes like the potential of disaster, depending on what you're getting into. But I don't view crypto or Grayscale as being some scammy type of investments at all. I think they're super solid. I think they're going to do well. And we're invested, like if you're primarily in LTCN, BCHC, man, these are OG cryptos. Like they're going to do well. Nobody knows how well. We've gotten predictions as to like how well they're going to do. I hope those things pan out. But I don't see them as particularly risky, you know. Back in the day, maybe super early, yeah, I would have viewed them as risky because they were unknowns, you know, like the crypto space as a whole. Like, what is crypto? Is it a scam? Is it a Ponzi scheme? All that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, but not anymore. Warren Buffett has famously compared Bitcoin to rat poison squared, which, you know, okay, you know, and I think he's also said it's like the greater fool theory, meaning if, you know, you're hoping you buy into crypto and you hope that a greater fool, a bigger fool than you comes along and buys it at a greater price. And I would agree with that. But what's the difference then between Nvidia stock or Apple stock or Microsoft stock? It's the greater fool theory, right? I would say it's the same fucking thing. I mean, you know, if I buy Apple at, you know, whatever price, and then I sell it at 50% increase or double, whatever, I'm hoping that somebody, a greater fool, buys it at a greater price than what I bought it for. And the same thing goes for real estate. Same thing goes for collectibles like Beanie Babies or Atari games or whatever the hell you're buying. It's the greater fool theory. That's cool. That is the economy. But rat poison squared, I don't really get that. I guess if I were to say something is rat poison squared, it's probably our system of fiat currency that we have, because it just poisons the well. It's such a messed up game. It really is. It's very disappointing that we have the financial system that we do, but we have it. It's good in many ways, but it's got some downsides for sure. So anyway, I've gone off on a couple things in this video, and I just want to talk about that. But just to wrap things up and close this thing out, yeah, the doubters, yeah, they're not going to get in. That's okay. It's not for everybody. Some of them will look into it after the fact or during the bull run and go, oh, shit, I should have gotten in. They will have non-buyer's remorse, right? Because they didn't buy in. But that's all you can do. All you can do is hope that, well, I mean, if you like them, all you can do is hope that they get in during the next cycle, you know, prior to the bull run, right? At some point. So If you don't like them, then, you know, fuck them. They don't need to get in, you know, leave it for somebody else. But whatever. Anyway, I think it's a good investment. We're going to do really well. I'm going to leave this here one right here, guys. You guys have a wonderful Sunday wherever you guys are. I'll see you at some point in the future, probably this week, in a video on something. But until then, you guys take care. All right. Bye.